Hi everyone, this video is going to be a little bit different in format. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in 2022 while doing my makeup. I always feel like when I do regular sit down videos it's boring, so this is what we're doing today. I read a total of 44 books last year, which isn't too bad for being in school if you think about it. Also, my closet door is really bugging me, so I'm gonna go close it. I have all the books here with me. They're just scattered. I'm not gonna go in order of when I read them like throughout the year because I did read some series like interspersed. But the first book, I technically read it in December 2021, but I finished it on January 1st. I was literally reading on New Year's. It's Always in December by Emily Stone, and I think I rated this, what, like 3 stars? I have my book journal out. I rated this one 3.75 stars. I don't remember much about that book, so I guess that says a lot about how I feel about it. I just remember that there was a very sad plot twist. It wasn't that memorable of a book for me. I think looking back at it now, I would rate it 3 stars. I also read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I rated that one 4.5 stars. Looking back, I'd probably rate it 4. Honestly, this video is probably just gonna be me changing my ratings on everything. Don't know what's going on with my skin. I never used to break out like this before, and all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. I do have terms and conditions, and I know that the final offer is coming out soon. I will be continuing on with that series. It's just taking me a while. Then I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I wish I read it during the summer because I did read it in January last year, but I did really enjoy it. I loved, what was her name? Nina? What a strong character. I loved her so much. The ending was so satisfying. Yeah, it was a good book. I rated it 4.5. Yeah, I rated it 4.5. I would not change that rating. I think that's valid. Let's talk about the Colleen Hoover books I read this year. I read Reminders of Him in January, and I read It Starts With Us in November. Reminders of Him was definitely the better one of the two. I rated this one 4 stars, and this one I rated 3.5 stars. I would probably go back and rate it 3 stars after thinking about it. It wasn't a bad book. It was just, it felt so unnecessary. It didn't really add much to the original story, so I didn't feel like it was necessary to the overall plot. We're really going out of order. My last read of 2022 was From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata. My hair looks so bad. But yeah, Mariana Zapata. That was my first Mariana Zapata book ever, and I enjoyed it. I read it mostly on my Kindle though, because I was traveling when I read it and I didn't want to add more to my luggage, but I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4.5 stars. It wasn't anything too memorable for me. I did enjoy the slow burn. If the pace was just a little faster, I probably would not have enjoyed it. So I did really like the slow burn in this one, and it didn't feel too slow at all. I loved both of the main characters. I loved the family aspect of this book too. It was more than just a romance. It also talked about being in a sport and having that sport be your job, basically your full-time job. I thought it was interesting. Oh, I forgot to mention the other Taylor Jenkins Reid book I read. I read One True Loves. This is the old cover, so all of my covers of her books are going to be so mismatched. I was not expecting to like that one as much as I did, and I got so much more out of that book than I thought I would. I thought it was just gonna be a regular romance. I didn't think it would be as deep of a book as it was. It really made me think emotionally and, what's the word, philosophically, I guess? I don't know. Honestly, what would you do if you were married to someone and then they die, and then you fall in love with someone else, and then your husband shows up like, actually I'm not dead, actually I survived the plane crash? Like, what would you do? I love how the book touched on personal development, character development. Then I read the first 3 books in the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I read Twisted Love and Twisted Games in January, and then I read Twisted Hate in April, and I still have to read Twisted Lies. It's on my TBR for this month or February, depending on how many books I get through. Give me 1 second. Okay, when I first read Twisted Love, I rated it 4.25 stars, but now I would probably rate it 4. Twisted Games, I rated 4.5 stars. Twisted Hate, I rated 4 stars. I would probably give it a 3.75 now. I read them so fast without even trying to read them fast. They were very entertaining in terms of like the memorability of them and whatever. I wouldn't give them as high of ratings as I originally did. If you didn't know, I usually skip the spicy scenes. However, Twisted Games, it was like every single chapter chapter, every single time the girl and the guy just saw each other, they would sneak off and then a spicy scene would happen. Every other page was a spicy scene. Even if I did read spice, doesn't that get repetitive? Like every single scene is just spice. I guess if you're into that, it's a little different, but like for me, I was just like, can we move on with the plot, or is this just the plot? You know? What's interesting though is that was my favorite one out of, oh, that's too much. That one was my favorite one out of all of the books in the Twisted series so far, but I heard that everyone likes Twisted Lies the best, so I'm really excited to read that one next. I think we're doing good on the pacing of this video right now. I read the first 2 books in the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I, to be honest, don't know. I don't remember what happened in this one. I read them both in the summer, in like June, July, something like that. I don't remember much. I should have just read the 3rd one right after, but after these 2, I just took a break from them. I don't know why. I rated both of them 3.5 stars, so maybe that's why I don't remember anything, because it wasn't that memorable to me. I read Set on You by Amy Lee, 3 stars. Not memorable. The epilogue was the cringiest thing I'd ever read in my entire life. I did like the body positivity and stuff mentioned in the book, but it got really cringy. I read 2 Emily Henry books. This one has a lot of sun damage, so don't judge me, but yeah, People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers. This one I listened to as an audiobook. This one I physically read. I DNF'd this one because I got bored and I just hated it. This one was okay. So this one doesn't have a rating. This one I think I rated 3 stars? 4 stars. I would rate it a 3 now. It's just not memorable. I don't remember anything that happened. I guess Emily Henry just isn't the author for me. The only other book I DNF'd was The Summer I Turned Pretty. I got bored. I'm sorry. I read it before too. Like, this is my second go around with that book. And it's so small. You know what I mean? I don't know. The show is better. Guess we can talk about the more summary books that I read. I read Love and Gelato. This one was really cute. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This is a young adult, so it reads a little younger. I also read Heart Bones by Colleen Hoover. I forgot to include this with the Colleen Hoover section, but I read Heart Bones. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would, especially because it's not as popular as her other books. But it wasn't bad. I rated that one 4.25 stars, but I would probably change that to 4 stars. Then I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and this was probably one of my favorite books from the entire year. I love this one so much. It felt like a movie. I loved it. Then I read this duology by Tessa Bailey. I don't know what it's called, but It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker. Oh my gosh. It Happened One Summer is definitely one of my favorite books of last year. Hook, Line, and Sinker was good, but it wasn't as good as the first one. I loved It Happened One Summer, and after I read these, I just immediately bought every book by Tessa Bailey I could find. I also read Get a Life, Chloe Brown. DNF'd it. Got bored. Didn't like it. I also read Archer's Voice. This one I gave 4.5 stars. I would probably go back and give it 4 now. And then I also read Dark Places and Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This one was horrible. I didn't like this one. I rated it 3 originally. I would give it 2 now. Sharp Objects was a little better. I rated this one 3 stars as well. I think I would keep it at 3 stars. Oh my gosh. Hello? Ow. I love this setting spray. Bury me in this setting spray. I got this Rare Beauty cream blush. Look how pretty it is. I think it's called the Melting Blush. So pretty. I love it. Also, yeah, I have like 50 pimple patches on my face, but who's gonna stop me? No one. Then I read, oh my gosh. I was reading these books in the middle of class. I had the ebooks on my laptop and I was just reading during lectures. Don't do that, guys. That's not good. But I read the first 3 books in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. The first one was a reread for me. I rated it 4 stars. The second one was the best one. 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. If I could give it 6, I'd give it 6. And then the 5th one was also 5 stars. It wasn't as good as the second one, but I still really loved it. I flew through it so fast. Hold on, give me 1 second. I really have to concentrate when I'm doing my eyebrows. I also read Final Girls by Riley Sager. This freaked me out. I rated it 4 stars. I'd probably go back and give it a 3.75. I listened to it on audiobook, so that made it even worse. When I was driving my car at night, that book really freaked me out, and the plot twist at the end was really good. I didn't read as much mystery this year as I thought. I read a lot of romance. Then I also read the last 2 books in the Hawthorne, what is this called? Inheritance Games trilogy. I read The Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit. This one that threw me for a loop. Oh my gosh, we were going all over the place. This went in a direction I was not expecting. Not in a bad way though. I don't even remember what happened in this one. I just remember really loving it. I rated this one 3.75 stars, and I rated the Final Gambit 4 stars. I did like the Final Gambit a little more just because there was a little more action. I'm just rambling while my eyebrows are not blended. Better remember to glue down the eyebrows or else they will fly away. I also read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, 5 stars, no questions asked. I listened to it on audiobook, which was so much better than actually reading it. Jeanette McCurdy is actually the one who narrates it, so I think that really made a difference. Hold on, I really gotta concentrate now. Hold on. Oh my gosh, it's so uneven. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is as good as it's gonna get. I'm done. Back to the video. I also read the Atlas 6. I have both copies. I bought this a long time ago, and then I bought this one too because I was listening on audiobook and I realized there's stuff in here that isn't in here. So I have both versions and I ended up hating it. So I rated it 2 stars. I was so bored, so I will not be continuing with the Atlas Paradox. Then I read the Lore Olympus books. I bought all of them because I love them so much. I bought the 3rd one immediately when it came out. I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I can't get enough of it, so I started reading it on Webtoon too. I don't even know how far I got into it, but I can't wait for the next ones to come out. I am patiently waiting. Rachel Smythe. I gave all of them 5 stars. Love them so much. And lastly, I picked up my first manga series ever, which is Spy Family. That's my first manga I've ever read, but I don't know if anything can top that. Like, I loved Spy Family. I rated all of them 4 stars and up. Most of them I gave 5 stars. There is nothing wrong with that series at all. I don't know why I didn't give everything 5 stars, honestly. It has comedy, it has action, it has like found family, literal found family, because they become a spy family. It has a little bit of romance in it too. Like it's not missing anything. So there's mystery a little bit too. It has it all. Also, can we talk about how expensive manga is? It's $10 for 1 book, right? Which is fine, but like I read manga so fast because it's mostly pictures, it's mostly artwork. I'm spending like $10 to read for an hour. You recognize how difficult it is to make a manga. I'm not discrediting manga authors and illustrators. It's just that like time-wise, it's so expensive for me as a reader, but I do understand it's like you're paying for art, but like from a reader's perspective, it gets expensive. So I'm not discrediting the artist, it's just, it adds up. So Spy Family was like my gateway into manga. So I bought a couple more manga that I thought I would enjoy. I haven't read them yet, but I have a small little manga library and I'm so excited, guys. I didn't think I'd be a manga girly, but look at me. Since I'm kind of still doing my makeup, let's talk about my reading goals for the new year. As I mentioned earlier, I do want to read more manga, especially the ones that I already own. I'm trying to finish all of the books on my physical TBR. I've unhauled a bunch that I feel like I won't read or have no interest in reading. I also want to read the Zodiac Academy series. I'm currently in the middle of book 2. I'm a little over halfway, so I'm really excited about it. I love the series so far. Book 1 was amazing. Book 2, I'm sure, is going to be even better. And I'm also trying to be more consistent with my planner. This is my reading journal, and I just continued off my journal from last year because I barely filled this up last year. But this is my series tracker. If you want me to do a full video on my reading journal, please let me know. I want to read at least 1 book a week, regardless of what's going on in my life. If I carve out 30 minutes before bed, 40 minutes before bed, I will be able to do that successfully, and I want to build that habit. I'm on my phone before bed anyway, so might as well just make it productive and read instead. My bookshelves are so messy right now. I'm currently in the middle of moving back home from my apartment, so that's why my room is so messy. Sorry, my camera ran out of storage. We are back. Those are my goals that I can think of off the top of my head. I did a little self-reflecting and I saw that I have 120 unread books on my physical TBR. It's 130 now. So I'm officially on a book buying ban. It's January 24th. Starting today, I'm on a book buying ban. No more books unless it's a sequel or a book by an author that I really like. That's all. I honestly have no excuses. Anyway, a lot of them are series, so that's why I said earlier I want to tackle the series on my physical TBR because there's so many, like the Addicted Callaway series. I've only read the first 2 books, so I want to get to all of them. I bought all of them because I saw that Kristen Becker Ritchie are changing the covers. I love indie versions of books so much. I just love the texture of the pages. I just have so many series on my TBR cart that I have not yet read. So that is my #1 priority. Those are my reading goals, and that's everything that I read. If I had to pick my top 5 from this year, it would be A Court of Mist and Fury, Every Summer After, It Happened One Summer, the Spy Family series as a whole, and probably Lore Olympus. So if you haven't read any of those, please read them. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!